This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in the last session, I covered on what is finance, all the types of financial planning. Okay, and the GL accounting hierarchies. I quickly shown you right how the GL accounting hierarchy works, direct and indirect accounts, and also the planning process. So we'll be starting with first step of planning process, that is like the data preparation, means which is nothing but building a planning. Okay, so I got some data to build this plan model. Let me show you the data. Just a moment, guys. So guys, this is the data I'm gonna use to load data into my to create my financial plan model. Okay, so let me give you a quick understanding on the data first. So here you see I have data see guys, generally one point to be answered is generally financial planning happens at month level granularity. So generally wherever you go, any organization you go, planning never happens at day level, guys. We never do day level planning, or we never do week level planning. The planning granularity is month. Okay, so means the lowest level at which we plan the data is at month level. Okay, any organization you go, financial planning or the P&L, and generally guys, profit and loss statement what we generate is always generated at month level. No company do uh, creates a profit and loss statement at day level or week level. I repeat this point once again. Okay, so generally the profit and loss statement is updated once in a month. Once your month end closures are completed. In finance, we have month end closure, quarter end closure, year end closures, guys. So once that month is completed, then the P&L statement will be updated for that month. Once the month end closure is completed, the profit and loss statement will be updated, or income statement will be updated for month. So generally in finance, okay, the income statement is updated monthly. So the granularity, the date granularity in finance P&L statement is month. You don't have date. Okay. Similarly, the planning, the financial planning happens monthly. Okay. We don't do day level planning or week level planning. So we do plan for month of January, month of February. Okay, this is my target for this month. We cannot do it. We cannot set a target for this date, second date, third date, like that. The targets are always set for a month. Okay, so the financial planning The date granularity here is month. One point to be noted, first point. So generally, guys, even IBP, I consider IBP, the supply chain planning, the granularity is weak. Okay, the inventory planning happens weekly. It is not done daily. Even in IBP also, the supply chain planning happens at week level. Okay, so planning never happens at day level, guys. Generally, we don't do day-to-day plannings, right? So here, as we do income statement planning, P&L planning, so generally the data granularity is month, the date granularity. So here you see in this is the data I'm going to use, around 20,000 records. You see around 20,000 odd records here. Hmm. So where I have the actual and budget version data. I have actual version data and budget version data for 2022-01 means January 2022 till December 2023. I have data for 2 years. So this historical data I'm loading for the last 2 years. The actual data for 2 years, 2022 and 2023. I'm loading the budget data also because so far, guys, I didn't do any planning in SAP Analytics Cloud System. For the first time, if you're loading the data, you also need to load the previous year's budgets as well, budget versions data also. Okay, for the first time, if you purchase the product for and you are loading the data for the first time into the product, you need to load the historical plans also. You need to load the historical plans also for the first time when you're loading data into SAP Analytics Cloud. After that, okay, once you get the 2022 and 2023 data, and we will do all the financial planning in for 2024 in SAC. From 2024 onwards, you load only actuals data. From that, every year you load only actuals data, actuals data. You keep on loading only actuals data every month. Okay. And the plans will be automatically generated in SAC for 2024, 2025. You don't need to load the budgets data for 2024 and 2025 because they will be generated within SAC. Okay. So guys, for the first time, if you have the product for the first time and you're loading the data into the product for the first time, okay, so you need to load your historical plans also. Okay, so I'm loading my actual and budget data for 2 financial years, 2022 and 2023. I'm going to use this data to do the planning for financial year 2024. Okay, what I'm saying, imagine your current month is January 2024 and I'm doing the financial planning for financial year 2024. Right now, imagine you are not in May 2024, you are in January 2024. Okay, so this is the data I have. So I have actual version data and budget version data for 2022 and 2023 at month level granular. So guys, this is basically a sportswear company, guys. This is basically a sportswear company. You see, it has two product categories, apparel and footwear sections. In apparel section, they sell athletic shorts and caps. In footwear section, they sell tennis shoes and running shoes. So these are the 5 products you have: athletic shirts, shorts, caps, tennis shoes, and running shoes. This is basically a sportswear company. Yes, I got a real company data. Okay, and it is operating. It's basically an American company. So it is basically here you see an entity. You see in which regions it is operating. Okay, it is basically an American company. Okay, but it is operating in USA and as well as overseas also. In the United States, it's operating in 4 regions like Northeast, Southeast, Pacific, and Midwest. In overseas, it is operating in Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific, Japan. Basically, it is China. APJ, it is China. Here you see Southeast, Northeast, Midwest, and Asia and Pacific in US region. Asia Pacific and Europe, Middle East in overseas. Totally, it is operating in 6 regions: 4 in United States, 2 outside of United States. It's basically an American company. Okay, so this is my company data. So I have the region, product, and then you see accounts here. Okay, so you don't see measures, guys. I told you, right? We have accounts. We always in finance we always deal through GL accounts. So this is the account ID. DRV 0020 is account ID. Account description is unit sold. Okay, computer cost, cross sales, etc. If I just pick cross sales, here you see The gross sales in Northeast region for athletic shirts for January 2021. So the budget value is this much. This is the gross sales budget in the budget version. Okay. If I pick only actual version, okay, in Northeast region, the gross sales in Northeast region for athletic shirts in January 2021, sorry, January 2022 is this much. Same region for caps, it is this much, but same month, January. Like that, you see the data. The value always represents your account. Okay. So this is my data, guys. I'm going to use this data. I'm going to use this data and create my plan model. Okay. So I got around 20,000 odd records. I'm going to use this data to create my own first step, that is planning model. And then I'll make use of this planning model to do financial planning for 2024. So clear, guys? Understand? You understood the data, right? Generally, this kind of data, we pull it from AC Docker table, guys. But here, I don't have a proper organization data in AC Docker table. Okay, so I'm just putting it from a file. But I'll follow the process of a system. Though the data is in file, I'll not follow the process of a file. I'll follow the data modeling process from a system. Okay, right. Now let's go. Let's go ahead and create a planning model. So guys, you can create two types of models. If it is live connection, we'll use the second option, live model. If it is import connection, we use the first model. You know this already, right? So guys, so far I created models. I created two models. You remember, one is employee travel model, another one is HR employee salary model. In your business intelligence, I created two models by importing data, right? So we have two options, guys. If your data is in file, we always use the option called start with the data. We always use the option called start with data. It might be a new model type or it might be a classic model. Here you see start with the data. See, you have two types, guys, classic model type and a new model type. Data modeling. Somewhere I written, I think. Yeah. So here guys, I already written in input model, we have four options. So basically you got two options. One is classic account type and second one is new model type. Okay. So here in classic account type and new model type, you have two options. Start with data, start with empty model. Same options you have in new model type also. So guys, if you have data in files and there is no master data, not date guys, it's master data. And there is no master data. Okay, we use the option start with data. See, remember guys, I created employee travel model as a classic account model. I started with data. This option I used, okay, for employee travel model. This option I used for employee travel model. For HR employee salary model also, I use this option. HR employee salary model. Hmm. I use the options, new model type and start with data. So I used both options in classic account model and new model type, where we started with data because we have the data in files and there is no master data in place. So we straight away go with this. If you have data in files, guys, we always use the option called start with data. Start with data always. It might be classic or it might be new model type. But if you're pulling the data from any external system and you have some master data in place and you want to do the master data management also, in that case, we always use the option called start as an empty model. Okay. So from now onwards, I'll be using this start with empty model, guys. We always use. So I'm going to create 3 models from now. All the 3 models will be created as start with empty model options, where I'm going to manage my master data. Okay. So guys, as of now, for this start with empty model available in both classic account model and also it is available in new model type. Okay. So finance plan model, I'll create it as, so this finance plan. I'm going to create 2 planning models here. Okay. One is finance plan profit and loss model. Finance plan profit and loss model, I'll create as classic account model and start with empty. I use this option. Okay. And I'm going to create HR headcount plan model. I told you, right? We're going to do financial planning and workforce planning here. I'm going to create a HR headcount plan model. So that data I'll create as, say, start with empty model, but I'll use new model type. And I have another model coming up. Means after planning, when I do analytic application, I'll create a retail store sales model, retail sales model. That retail sales model also same. I'll use new model type. I'll use new model type, and I also use the option start with empty model. So I'm going to create 2 models with new model type and start with empty model, and 1 model as a classic account model and start with empty model. Okay, clear? Right, guys. So finance plan model, I'll create it as that. I'll go for classic model. So I want to create a classic model. I'm not going for new model type because, guys, I tell you a lot. Classic model supports only accounts. New model supports accounts as well as other measures also. As it is finance, I don't have other measures at all. So I'll go for classic account model. That's fine. See, in real world, guys, you see both classic account models and new model types. So that's the reason I'm covering both. I'm touch basing both. But to be honestly, in future, we will be creating new model types only. We'll not be creating account-based models in the future, classic models. But as you go to any company, any organization, you will see both. So I'm covering all types of models. So here I go with the classic account model and start with an empty model, right? In the next models, in the next planning models, I'll create a new model type and empty with model. Okay, let's say create. So any model, any empty model you create, guys, it will be by default a planning model. Any empty model you create in either new model type or classic account type, it will be by default a planning model. By default. If you go to planning, remove the planning options, it will be an analytic model now. Now it is analytic. Now it is analytic. You go to planning, enable planning, it is planning model now. So planning model by default comes with two dimensions. One is version dimension and it is date dimension. I told you, right? We maintain multiple versions of data in planning model. Especially in financial planning, you see three types of versions. That is actual version, which contains your actual data. Okay, means your this version contains your proper business data. Then you have forecast version. Okay, future numbers are targets. How much sales we gonna target, like that. Then budget version, which will be allocation to regions and departments. Future number will be allocated to regions and departments and products, etc. In my case, it is allocated to region and products. Okay, distribution. The target will be distributed to internal things. So you see three versions of data: actual, forecast, and budget in financial planning. So as you have multiple versions of data, you have version dimension in place in planning. Planning, you see by default two dimensions. One is date and another is version. Okay, what's your planning date range and this one. Okay, and then here you can add some existing dimensions, guys. You can create a new dimension in this plan, in this model, or you can add some existing dimensions. Okay, so generally in most of the cases, if you have master data in place, if you have any master data in place, so first we create master data dimension separately. We create master data as a public dimension and place that public dimension into transaction data models. I repeat, so how do we maintain master data in SAP Analytics Cloud is we maintain master data as a public dimension, master data object as a public dimension, and place that public dimension into multiple transaction data models. For suppose you created one public dimension called product, and you can use that in multiple transaction data models. You can place that pub in multiple transaction data models. Okay, so how do you create public dimension is here. This is an option to create a public dimension. Okay, in the same modeler section, after models, you see an option called public dimension tables. Here you maintain mass data. Okay, same thing as you come from BW backgrounds. How you maintain your mass data? You maintain your mass data through info objects, right? You have your mass data and mass data info objects, like your customer info object, like your vendor info object, your product info object, your GL account mass data info objects, and you place those mass data info objects in transaction data models like DSOs and info cubes, right? Or advanced DSOs, right? Similarly, even in native HANA, how do you create? You create mass data calculation views, right? Dimension-based calculation views on product, customer, etc., and place those into transaction data models, right? In star joins, a non-star join, star or non-star join, transaction data calculation views. Same here also we have CDS, mass data CDS placed in analytics CDS, right? So wherever you go, same. First we maintain mass data through some objects and place the mass data in dimensions or objects into transaction data models, right? Even in SAP Analytics Cloud also, we maintain mass data through public dimension tables. And one public dimension can be used in multiple transaction data models, right? Make sense? You all can relate, guys. BW, BPC, HANA, everyone can relate this.
Yes, Satya.
So, okay, so I have my master data in a separate file. So guys, these all data files are available in your Drive, Google Drive, guys. You can use them from your Google Drives. Okay, so here I got some financial plan master data. Right, I have master data for entity, region. For region, you see in transaction data, I have region ID, that's it. But whereas in master data, I have region ID, region description, region currency, region hierarchy level 1, and region hierarchy level 2, where you see uh, countries also, where you can see the countries as well, right? Whether it's in United States, this one. In transaction data model, you see only, generally we don't see descriptions also, guys. Very honestly, we don't see descriptions also. You see only entity column. but here you see all entity details. Okay, you want these details to be part of your transaction data model. First, we create a public dimension out of this and place this public dimension to transaction data model so that all attributes will be present in your transaction data model. Then this is my product mass data where you have product ID, product description, product hierarchy level 1 and hierarchy level 2 where you have product categories. Okay, then you see account mass data. So guys, in account mass data, GL account mass data, I got around 65 accounts. But whereas if I go to my transaction data model, guys, I don't see all the 65 accounts. How many I see? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 29. I see 29 GL accounts in the transaction data file, guys. But whereas in mass data, I got 65 accounts. The reason is, I tell you, in transaction data, you see only direct GL accounts. In any transaction data model, you see only direct GL accounts. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Okay. So you see only direct GL accounts in the transaction data, guys. Here uh, in transaction data model, in transaction data, you see only direct GL accounts because the financial postings happens only on direct accounts. In direct accounts, the values is calculated from direct account, right? So if you want to show the accounting hierarchy in your reporting, so we should maintain the mass data. We should first maintain the mass data on GL account. Okay, have all the 65 accounts into my mass data dimension and consume that mass data dimension into transaction data model so that along with the direct accounts, you will see the data for indirect accounts also. If I directly create, guys, if I directly create a model on top of this file without maintaining mass data, I cannot show my accounting hierarchy. I cannot really show my accounting hierarchy. Okay, use because I see only direct GL accounts. If you want to have accounting hierarchy into your into your reporting, guys, first maintain mass data on GL account and use that mass data dimension to transaction data models. Okay, same here also, same thing. Here I cannot show I can create a hierarchy on entity, guys. If I don't maintain mass data, I cannot create the hierarchy. I cannot maintain account entity, currency, etc. I cannot do anything. I can just have entity ID. That's it. If I directly do it on transaction data, okay, I can just show the entity ID. But here I can show my entire entity information and its attributes information. Right? That's the reason it's important to have mass data mass data created first and then used it in transaction data models. All right, let's go create some public dimension tables. So guys, I have these files loaded into your, let me just show your Google Drive. I'll take data from your drive, guys. So this is your Google Drive, right? If I go to the data files, planning, I'll reload this. I made some changes to the file. So Okay. So I'll go create a public dimension. So first I'll create entity public dimension. Let me first create a public dimension on entity. I'll create three public dimension tables, one on entity, one on product, and one on account. I'll start on entity first. Entity, guys, I create it as an organization dimension. Entity is region. In general, region is taken as organization. Okay. So here I'll say entity underscore V33. 33 is your batch number, guys. Simple. So here, if you enable data access control on entity dimension, I told you, right? We can maintain which user should access data from this model. Okay, if a user from United States region access the data, okay, he should be accessing data only for United States region. He should not access data for overseas regions. If you want to enable that kind of data level restrictions, use this option called enable data access control. Enable data access control on this dimension. Okay, let's say create. Here you see read and write. Here which user should read data from this. I didn't anyway load data. So I have my entity dimension. Okay, generally your organization dimension comes with two attributes by default, currency and person responsible. Okay, so what else I need? I have entity. I have member ID column, which I'll map with entity. I have entity description column. I'll map it with description attribute. I have entity currency column. I'll map it with currency attribute. Fine. But I don't have columns to map entity hierarchy level 1 and level 2. In this case, what I do is I'll go to the details and I'll create the property attributes here. Come down here. You have an option properties. As of now, one property attribute I have is currency. I can create new property attributes. Okay, I create my property attribute as entity underscore HL1 hierarchy level 1. Data type is text. Text a number, whatever you want, you can give it. My data type is text here. Okay, I'll create another property attribute. This time I give it as region. I'm not giving the same name, guys. It's not mandatory. You need to give the same name in your file. You can give different names also. I have 5 columns to map to my all. So I created 2 attributes. Read and write, we'll maintain the users here. Read and write. I have now all the 5 attributes to map. Let's say save your public dimension. I save my public dimension. Okay. And let's load the data into the public dimension. Okay. So I saved my public dimension. I go to the data management now. Here I load the data into this public dimension. Here you go. You have an option, import data from file or a data source. If you're loading data from file, pick the first option, guys. If you're loading data from any source system, I'll pick the data source option. So in general, guys, if your data is in file, we never do this kind of data management, mass data management, etc. We directly do it from file. Okay, start with data. If we don't have mass data in place, we always use the option start with data. From systems only, we use this kind of system. So here I'll go import data from a data source. Okay, in general, guys, our data source will be S4 HANA systems, guys, because we have all our master and transaction data comes from S4 HANA. Okay, but right now my S4 HANA system, I cannot have this. This is a proper organization data. I cannot put in my S4 HANA system, guys. Okay, the only drawback I have is, so my systems, I don't have proper data. Okay, they are not real business applications to have a data. And this data, whatever I'm showing, is a real company data. It's a real organization data. I'm not getting you some random data. So, or you have an option to get the data from Google Drive also, guys. If you have files in Google Drive, so you can connect with the Google Drive and get the data from Google Drive. Pick data from Google account. It will show all the systems you have here. Come on, man. This Google always. Hmm, Let me try from other account. See, there is some issue. The Google is blocking it up off late. I'll check it out. I'll try to fix this up. In the meantime, what I'll do is, okay, I'll directly take it. Maybe let me try Google Sheet Drive once. If that also doesn't work, then I'll directly pull it from this. Let's save this as a Google Sheet. But this is private Google Sheet, guys. Just a moment, guys. I tried to create it as a public sheet. Let's see what I can. Guys, I give you some URL. Can you check whether you're able to access it? Guys, I just given one URL. Can you check this out, please? Guys, can you check this up? You're able to access that URL, see the data.
Yeah, Satya, I'm able to see the data.
Then it's a public sheet. I'm not seeing. Okay, I'll look into this. That's okay. I don't want to waste my time here. So as of now, guys, for this, I'll load data from files. So why I'm more interested on Google Sheets is I can do generally if I load data from files, guys, I cannot do data management. Data management in the sense I cannot keep on loading the new data. Okay, I cannot keep on loading the new data. Okay, but if it is from file, I can load only once. So that's the only difference. Else, everything is same. So I'll try to do it from file, but that's okay. I'll try to fix this Google Sheet thing also. Uh, I'll select my source file here as finance plan master data. So I'll pick my master as entity master to use first row columns as headers. So then you need to map all the columns of your source table with the attributes of your public dimension, attributes of your public dimension. Here you see entity on the left hand side, you see all the columns of your source table, source file here. Right hand side, you see how it is mapped to the attributes. So entity column is mapped to dimension ID, perfect. Entity description column is mapped to description attribute, perfect. So I'll map entity underscore currency with currency attribute of my public dimension. And for person responsible, I'm not mapping anything. For read and write also, we give the usernames here, guys. So we don't map anything. Entity hierarchy level 1 column is mapped to hierarchy level 1 attribute. Entity hierarchy level 2 column I'm mapping to region attributes. Guys, if name is same, it will auto map. If name is different, you need to manually map it. Okay, so I'll go finish mapping.
First row is always considered as title here.
Hmm?
In first row in the file, first row is always considered as a title. Name of the column like that.
Header. Yeah. Here you see, now we successfully loaded data into this region ID, region description, region currency, region hierarchy level, and to overseas region. So here I can go create a hierarchy now, guys. I can create a level hierarchy. This is first level, region is second level, and these are third level. Okay. So here I go create hierarchy, level based hierarchy. I'll make region as level 2, hierarchy level 1 as level 3. So 3-level hierarchy. Under enterprise, we have 2 regions, United States and overseas. Under overseas and United States, we got 6 region IDs. So I just go hierarchy underscore entity. I create. I create a level-based hierarchy also. So we maintain public dimension on entity. Hmm. So we created this. Fine now. Now let me go create another public dimension. This time I'm going for generic. I go for product. Okay. In product, I didn't give anything, so I get member ID and description. What else I need? Product hierarchy level 1 and product category. So in this case, I create two more property attributes. Product hierarchy level 1. Add one more category, one more attribute, that is product category. Import data from a file. Take data from, this time I'm going to take data from product master data. So here you see first row as column headers. That's the reason it is taking headers from first row. If you uncheck, it will also be taken as data. So guys, here one mapping happened, that is product column is mapped to product category. This is a wrong mapping, so I remove it. So I'll map product to dimension ID, product description to description attribute, product hierarchy level 1 to product HL1, product hierarchy level 2 product category. I map everything. Let's say finish mapping, so it will load the data into these particular attributes. So I created my product dimension. Switch on to the dimension table. You see the data in your product dimension. Then we got product hierarchy level, product category, and product. So let me create a level-based hierarchy here also. I create a hierarchy, level-based hierarchy. Maintain, create my product hierarchy category as level 2, product hierarchy level 1 as level 1, level 3. I go create hierarchy underscore product. Yeah. Save it up. Okay, so now we created two public dimensions, one on product, one on entity. Okay. Then I'll go create an account master. I'll create a new public dimension. Which is account master. Okay guys, I created three public dimensions. One is generic, one is organization, one is account. Create. So guys, on GL accounting, there is a by default parent-child hierarchy. So that's the reason you see a hierarchy in place. Let's save this up. In the dimension table, if you scroll down, see by default a parent-child hierarchy is built on account dimension. Obviously, I told you right, your GL accounting follows a parent-child hierarchy. You want to add any properties, you can add. I'm not having any properties as such. By default, it comes with a lot of attributes, guys. Here you see account dimension comes with a lot of attributes. Okay, so account dimension structure is almost same in all organizations, guys. Okay, now let's say the validation. Let's load the data. So I created public dimension. I didn't add any attributes, nothing I add. Let's go to the data management now. Let's take data from file. I go pick my sheet as account master. Let's say import. So here you see ID column is mapped to dimension ID, find description to description, find account type to account type, find hierarchy to hierarchy, scale to scale, decimal to decimal. So rate type column is mapped to unit type. That's a wrong mapping happened. That's the reason it is in red. I remove it. So I'll map unit and currency to unit type. Here I'll map units and currency column to unit type. So guys, if you map unit type, you need to maintain measure unit also. So guys, one point to be noted, it's not mandatory you need to map all the columns of your source table. I repeat one more time, it's not mandatory you need to map all the columns of your source table. Your source table has got 20 columns, but in your dimension you have only 5 attributes. Map only the required 5 columns from the table. Remaining 15, that's okay, no problems. And it's not mandatory you need to map all the attributes of a public dimension. You got 5 attributes in a public dimension, but you mapped only 4 to the table. That's fine, only those 4 attributes will get the data. 5th attribute will not get the data. So you can do like that. Okay, it's not mandatory you need to map all the attributes of a dimension, and it's not mandatory that you need to map all the columns of your source table. Okay, so here I'm not mapping everything. You see only few columns will be mapped. But if you map unit type, guys, you need to map measure unit also. If you don't map unit type, that's well and fine. If you map unit type, you need to map measure unit also. But I don't have any data for measure unit. Means in the measure unit, if it is currency, you need to write what currency it is, USD, INR, like that. If it is unit, then what unit it is, you need to give. So I don't have that data. In this case, I'll pick one column which is not having any data. I'll pick header 13, guys. Header 13 is not having any data. So I'll give some column which is having blank data. That's fine. Okay, I just given some random column which is having blank data. It will work. Let's say finish mapping. Finish it up. Okay, now you see all 65 accounts data has been imported successfully. 65 rows imported. Okay, so generally, guys, if I'm taking data from file, so here you see I cannot do any schedules. Here you see schedule settings, I don't see anything. If I take data from any system, I can maintain the schedule. I want the data to be loaded on daily basis, I can maintain daily settings. Okay, I want the data to be loaded once in a month. You can set your own schedules here. Okay, that's the reason I tried from a Google Sheet. If I take from a Google Sheet, I can have the schedules in place. Okay, I'll fix that up. That's okay. So that I can show you that schedules also. Means I can keep on adding the new data. So I created my public dimension. Here you see account ID, account description, account hierarchy. Then you see account types, guys. I told you, right? We got 5 types of accounts. If you see here, you got income, expense, asset, liability, equity, and non-finance. Here, my accounting hierarchy is more on P&L statement. I don't find asset and liability accounts. So here I'll give some accounts like drivers is non-finance. For few accounts, there is no account I've maintained. Let's maintain it manually. For revenue, revenue is an income account always. It's an income account. Finance, it's a root node, so I don't need to give any account type. Remaining all I have accounts. For value driver tree also, it's a root node. I don't need an account type. That's okay. I give an account types for everything. Okay. So whether your account is income account, expense account, or non-finance, you see 3 types here: income, expense, and non-finance. Okay. You don't see asset and liabilities because I don't have asset accounts here. I'm doing P&L planning, so I take only P&L hierarchy. I maintain my account type.
Satya, here
Okay.
account types is common or everywhere this will be, or it depends on organization to organization, EXP, INC, anything?
It's almost common.
No.
The general accounting hierarchy, account mass data is almost same. So if you see my accounting hierarchy, so here you see account parent child hierarchy is also maintained. If I click on my hierarchy, see under finance node you have all, but there are 2 nodes, guys, which are falling beyond finance: FTD, YTD, FT actual. They should be part of FT planning and FT movements, guys. Under FT movements, they should be present. In this case, what I do, FT, YTD, I can drag and put it under FT movements. No, under FT movements. Under FT movements, now FT, YTD is also seen. Okay. So that is one way. You can drag and drop. Here you see, here is FTA, YTD. Yeah, here you see FT, YTD is earlier in root node. Now it is part of FT movements. DRV 00200, DRV 0200 is nothing but FT movements. That is my parent. For FT actuals also, I want to make this FT movements as a parent nodes. In this case, I say copy and paste it here. Simple. You can change your root node hierarchy. Save your jail account. Click on your hierarchy once again. Okay. So guys, now you have your root node as finance. Under finance, you see all sub nodes. In that, I'm more focused on operating income. Operating income is an indirect account calculated from gross profit and operating expenses. Operating expenses is calculated from sales, marketing expense, personal cost, IT expenses, etc. You see accounting hierarchy here. And gross profit is calculated from revenue and cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold is production cost. You see all accounts here. Revenue is calculated from gross revenue and discounts. Gross revenue is calculated from gross sales and retail returns. So these are direct accounts. The root nodes are direct accounts. Okay. I have my accounting hierarchy in place. This accounting hierarchy is maintained in your source system. We never maintain accounting hierarchy. And you want to calculate any accounts using formula, we can write some formulas here. I'll write lot of advanced formulas here. Okay. Going forward, calculated on aggregation types. Guys, we can maintain your aggregation type at the public dimension. But right now I created it as a public dimension. Just a moment, please. Okay, so aggregation types, you can maintain a public dimension or you can maintain a transaction data model. In general, so guys, we are creating this public dimension. We will be placing this public dimension in multiple transaction data models. So you can give different aggregations to different accounts in different models. Means for store price in one account, it is summation, another price, it is min or max in another model. You can generally the aggregation types are maintained at data model level. So I'm not maintaining now. Scaling is maintained, decimal places, units, and currency. Remaining all are maintained properly. So I created my public dimension. I saved this. So maybe I stop here, guys. So I created all the public dimensions today. So in the next session, I'll make use of this public dimensions and create a transaction data model. Okay, I create your planning model in the next session. I stop here. Thank you all. Have a
These
great.
three is updated in Drive, right, Satya?
It's there in your, these files are in your drive, man. You can check it.
Okay.
Every file is there in drive. Don't have, you don't need to ask me. You can go and check it.
You said some modification is needed, right? That's why I'm asking.